Hey, First Things First listeners, before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com, reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, as well as the televised version of this show, just a click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com. Now let's start the show. We did it! We got to Friday. We had football almost all week. We got to Friday where we get to do what? Talk about more football. Greatest show on earth. Jenna Wolfe, Nick Wright, Brandon Marshall, Kevin Wild. This is First Things First.
I can't vouch for that.
Did I start too high?
I think it's a very, very good morning sports television show. Greatest show on earth.
You're like Cam, you have no confidence.
For us to clear.
You're like Cam, no confidence.
You
gotta have confidence, brother.
Okay,
My
fair
last
enough.
job,
All right,
they called that a great morning show. I figure it was me wherever
there
I
you
take
go,
it.
Nick.
Let's start with some football. The aforementioned football, Patriots, Rams. What a night from Cam last night, right, guys? No, not Cam Newton. He was sacked 4 times, threw a pick 6, and was benched in the 4th. I'm talking Cam Akers. Rams running back rushing for 171 yards. And then as predicted, the Rams defense did the rest. Rams get the win. They're now 9-4. Patriots lose. They're now, who cares? Because they've got a quarterback problem. Here's Cam Newton on getting benched in the 4th quarter.
Coach took you out of the game with a little over 10 minutes left. Are you concerned about not or being benched for next week or anything like that?
That's not my call. I'm just doing what I'm asked. I just have to still go into each and every week with the mentality to keep getting better, and that's what I plan on doing.
Bill, I wanted to ask you about just the quarterback. You're going to stick with Cam next week at quarterback?
Yeah, great question, Mike. I'm really glad you asked that. Cam's our quarterback.
Bill Belichick has no press conference integrity whatsoever. He's just going to say whatever he feels like saying and then let the chips fall when they decide to fall.
He's the
Clearly,
best.
there's an issue at quarterback for the New England Patriots, regardless of what Bill Belichick says. Brandon, should he bench Cam, or do you let him finish out the season at this point?
Yeah. Bill Belichick can't afford to bench Cam Newton. Look, the Patriots are cooked. They're done. And they're going fishing for the first time since 2008, 12 years. The Patriots need Cam Newton. Let's say they go with Jarrett Stidham. This would be a PR nightmare. This guy goes in, he throws 4 or 5 picks. The headline every week is going to be the Patriots get blown out. Jarrett Stidham is not the guy. Jarrett Stidham throws 3 picks. Look, the New York Jets may get their first win if they go with Jarrett Stidham. So Bill Belichick knows he needs Cam Newton because, look, you're out of the playoffs, but moving forward, you don't want to go into the offseason on a 4-game losing streak. You look at that game last night, Nick, they were in it. The offense looked terrible, and what changed the game was that pick 6. That was a 10-point swing. Yep. If it wasn't for that, who knows what would have happened in the 3rd, 4th quarter. Bill Belichick needs Cam Newton. Cam Newton needs to find his confidence and finish the season strong.
And by the way, just if you didn't watch last night, it looked like the Patriots had a pick 6 to make it 10-7. Players ruled down. A couple plays later, Cam throws one of his own. It's 17-0. And like I said yesterday, the Patriots are an offense that can't overcome a holding penalty, let alone a defensive touchdown by the other team. It was over. It was over that moment. By the way, the under came in America. You're welcome again. But on the Cam Newton question, he is not blocking some quarterback of the future's development. Again, we have no memory. But I will remind America, when Cam couldn't play, Bill Belichick started Brian Hoyer. Jarrett Stidham has thrown 33 passes this year. 3 of them have been caught by the opposing team. So as bad as Cam has been, there is not the next quarterback of the Patriots on the roster unless somehow it is Cam. Now, I am as skeptical of that in this moment this morning as I've ever been. But the quarterback on the roster that they need to evaluate for next year, because unfortunately, Wilds, at this point, it is all about next year, is Cam. To find out, is he cooked as a player, or is he simply still dealing with some injury to where you can see him getting better at the end of the year? Because if Cam Newton is not the starting quarterback for the 2021 New England Patriots, then whomever that person is not on the roster. It is not going to be Jared Stidham, and it's obviously not going to be Brian Hoyer, Wilds.
Well, that's the scariest part for me. And Nick, as you know, you have your committee. My own committee was up deep into the night. It was Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Paul Pierce, Manny Ramirez, myself. We all gather at my home after Patriots games. And I'm unveiling the first Wilds Tears. It's T-E-A-R-S of the Patriots, if we can put them up here. This was the most painful moments for me, Nicholas. First up, it was a rushing Hail Mary. End of the half. What are we going to do? A Greg Williams favorite. We ran the ball. That's how inept the offense is with the camera. He can't throw it to the end zone. We ran the ball, actually picked up a lot of yardage. So I was like, hey, that's not bad. At least it's good for your fantasy teams. Nope. Nullified on a penalty. Coming back. What's the next line? Aaron Donald in the Rams defense. 6 sacks. And there's Cam Akers, who, if I check my notes, ran for 800 yards. First play down, first drive. I'm like, this game's over. This game is over. Are they going to score in 1 minute? All right, next up, Josh McDaniels and Nick Folk. Don't get me wrong, Nick Folk did a good job. He made 3 points. The only Patriot doing anything on offense. 4th and 2, we decided to kick a field goal because we have no confidence we can get 2 yards, Nick. 2 yards. So how do we figure we're going to get 14 points in the second half when Sean McVay is now 34-0 in the... Hold on, Brandon. I'm too fired up. I'm going to come through the screen and meet you in a second.
I got to hear it. I got to hear the Cam and Belichick part.
Josh McDaniels. Hey, great job calling 4 rushing plays. It only caused Terry Bradshaw, Hall of Famer, to call it, quote, what the worst offense he's ever seen.
Wow.
Still going, stand by. Cam Newton had 9 completions. One of them should have been an interception. We all know when he went up, I was like, wow, that's a great play. And then finally, the future. This was the most painful part. What is happening? We have no chance. You guys are like, well, it may be evaluate Cam. Guys, let's just call it like it is. The guy had 9 completions. It doesn't look good. I want to root for him. But it's not Stidham. Do you? It's not Brian Hoyer. It's not Cam. I do. I love Cam. It's not Cam. And if you say Carson Wentz, I'm going to take my microphone off and come through the screen. So those were the Wilds Tears. The committee and I were up. You do it a lot more, non-emotional, but the committee was very fired up last night. The fact that Matt Damon had to come all the way from L.A. It's a lot. Everybody who was in the town, basically. Everybody was in the town. Just a little town credit list.
I appreciate you. Yes, that's right. I appreciate you actually naming your guys on your committee. Nick Wright, can we please get a glimpse into your committee? Who's in your committee?
No. Okay. We're cloak and dagger. It's like the skulls. No. You can't know. You can't deal with the threats and the blowback from that. I want to say one thing about someone on Wilds Tears that Jenna, I know we're going to get to later in the show. Aaron Donald now has 45 and a half sacks in his last 45 games. I want wow. We saw J.J. Watt 7, 8 years ago go on an unbelievable run where we talked about his ranks amongst the all-time great defensive players. Aaron Donald has a legitimate chance to become the greatest interior defensive lineman in the history of the league. He has a real chance for that. Sir. And we are watching absolute magnificent unprecedented level of play on a week-in, week-out basis. And I just wanted to highlight it for a moment before we move on, because he's unstoppable in this league.
And guess where he's from? He's from Pittsburgh. Penn Hills, boy.
Oh, yeah, that's
Pittsburgh
true.
In the building.
Yeah. That is true.
Well, it was that. And listen, the Rams defense was the star of the game last night, by far, and Aaron Donald led the way. Let's move on to Big Ben and Josh Allen. Ben versus Josh, Steelers versus Bills, both Brandon's teams, but wait till you hear who's he's picking and why. That's next. This is First Things First.
What's up, First Thing First listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I welcome in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to First Things First.
Let us head to
Derek
Buffalo.
Carr.
Guys, I have one more of these in the G segment. Settle down. I got four more names.
Right.
Let us head to Buffalo. Wings and other things, like two of the AFC's top contenders. You got your Steelers at 11-1, coming off their first loss of the season. You got the Bills at 9-3, coming off high praise that they're getting from everyone, including our guy Brandon. There's no shot Mike Tomlin's taking this team lightly. Said this week, Josh Allen is a big-time challenge. So, Brandon, your challenge. You root for the Steelers. You also root for the Bills. It's you versus you this week, buddy. What are your keys to the Bills pulling off the win, getting the upset?
Well, you know, the Steelers are my team. I'm a Pittsburgh guy from East Liberty to east side of town. Buffalo Bills is just one of those teams that I talked about before the year that I thought could be in this position because of how they ended last year. Nick Wright laughed at me. Kevin Wildes gave me the funny face. And even you, Jenna, you didn't validate me before the season. And now we're here. This is a showdown. And I have to say this. I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the Super Bowl. But, no, actually, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Seattle Seahawks. But I don't think they're going to get this win. This is the Buffalo Bills game to lose. Like, you just can't mess this up. They're banged up. They have an identity crisis on offense. Now, all of a sudden, you lose one game, and all these reports are finally coming out about Big Ben changing plays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So here are the keys to the Bills' victory right here. Number one, Josh Allen. I just said it. Don't mess it up. We need you to have 0 turnovers. If you do that, you're going to find yourself in good position in the fourth quarter. Don't mess this up, Josh Allen, okay? The second thing, Stephon Diggs, 2 explosive plays. What do I mean by 2 explosive plays? Well, it could be plus 15, plus 16. We just need 2. I don't need you to have 10 targets or 10 catches, 100-something yards. I don't need that. This is a zone blitzing team. They do a great job of taking wide receivers out. Joe Hayden's down. So when they call your number, make a big play because your team is probably going to lean more towards the run because it's your game. Play smart, play chess, and not checkers. And the last thing is hold James Conner under 60 yards. Why? Because you want Big Ben to cook. Like, let him throw it around. If you stop the run, let Big Ben throw the ball. Let him continue to change the plays. You've seen what happened the last couple weeks with this offense when Big Ben is throwing it 40, 50 times a game. So hold James Conner under 60 yards, and you'll find yourself in good position. Don't mess this up, Buffalo Bills.
All right, Brandon, I love all of that so much. And let me reveal something to you guys that you guys, my colleagues, don't know. Your buddy Nick Wright has been under constant vicious attack all week by the alleged Bills Mafia.
Probably.
They have been so mad at me because
Buddy.
What, Wildes? Go ahead. What? Yeah.
I've caught some shrapnel off that. I caught some Nick Wright shrapnel. People in my message are like, tell Nick Wright. I'm like, he's like, you're a coward. You need to tell Nick Wright. I was like, no, I'm getting it too.
Yeah, they're mad. So listen, Bills fans, and who are really, they're big Josh Allen fans. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on two things. One is getting to 9-3, and the other is waking up from the 2-month coma you were in October and November when Josh Allen was awful. Because evidently that never happened. It was just the first month of the season and last week. So welcome back, and congrats on the record. Now let me also tell you this, Bills fans. You know who's a huge Buffalo Bills fan this weekend? This guy. Because you know what happens if the Bills win? Slides right into that 1 seed. Slides right into home field. A nice buy on Wild Card Weekend. The old Kansas City Chiefs. So I don't have any Bills paraphernalia because there was no garage sales or secondhand stores around me to pick one up. But if there was, I'd be wearing a Bills hat right now. Because for 1 weekend only, I am a giant Josh Allen fan. And now let me tell you, Wilds, that's a scary place to be, even against a banged-up Steelers defense. But this weekend, I'm going to be eating my buffalo wings, those things called garbage plates they love in upstate New York. It's like pasta and chili and a bunch of nonsense. But whatever it is, I'm doing all of it. Because I'm a huge Bills fan this weekend. I want them
You're going to slide right into the one.
And
you're
then
going to slide right into the 1 seed, and then you're going to lose to the Saints, and you're probably going to lose to, guess who? No. The Chargers. The team that should have beat you the first time.
So here's the thing. We don't have to go through the Chiefs' schedule, but I'll tell you this. If the Steelers lose to the Bills, the Chiefs can lose to the Saints, still the 1 seed. Because you know who beat these Bills? The Chiefs. So we're great. So let's go Bills. Wilds. I'm a huge Buffalo fan.
Yeah.
I'm texting with Jim Kelly after the show. Let's go. I'm down for all of this. Let's go.
I was texting with Thurman Thomas. I'm back too. So please leave me alone. Nick is a Bills fan. I am not quite a Bills fan, but guys, if you want me to be, I will be.
Online too for me.
Here's what I do. Yeah, I win the AFC East. I win the AFC East, so I'm going to win regardless. So when I see who's going to win, I'm going to throw my support behind them. So if it's the Bills, sure, Patriots are out, I'm going to become a Bills fan. That's my identity. I win the AFC East. It's like something I do.
Okay.
It just happens. It's just
Go ahead,
not bandwagon. It's just kind of getting smart. Okay, here's a question. With so much talk about the Steelers needing to run, they lost 1 game, and it's like, blow the whole offense up. We got to run the ball. What's Big Ben doing? He's acting like a screenwriter back there, writing his own script rather than calling the plays. Brandon, do you think there's extra pressure for the Steelers to run the ball because there seems like an unstoppable narrative that Big Ben is throwing too much?
I think there is, absolutely, and it's probably making the locker room a little bit uncomfortable right now. But I don't know if it's uncomfortable for Big Ben because this has been an issue. Like we were talking about the last couple games yesterday, but you go back to 2010, why didn't they bring back Bruce Arians? Because Big Ben was getting hit too much because he was throwing it around. They wouldn't run the ball. Nick showed us yesterday how successful the Pittsburgh Steelers were before Big Ben took over and how they got it done. Right, Big Ben, they were playing good defense and they were running the ball, Jerome Bettis. And now all of a sudden we're letting Big Ben cook. Can he throw it around? Absolutely. I played against Big Ben in college and I saw this guy go 30 for 31 at Miami of Ohio against UCF. The only incomplete pass was a receiver who dropped the ball right through his hands. Big Ben can throw it, but that's not the formula for the Pittsburgh Steelers to their path to the Super Bowl. So absolutely, they need to get Big Ben and get him under control and stop changing plays, Big Ben.
And for this game specifically, the Steelers' depth defensively is really going to be tested. They went into the season with the best group of linebackers, which kind of makes sense. The Pittsburgh Steelers should have amazing linebacker play. They went into the season with the best group of linebackers in football. They lose Devin Bush 2 months ago. They lose Bud Dupree 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
And now Vince Williams is on the COVID list. And so a Buffalo team that doesn't love to run the football, by the way. They like to let Josh Allen do his thing, which is, hit or miss. Buffalo might be well served to try to run the football this week because Pittsburgh's so banged up. But through hook or crook, I don't care how they do it. Let's go Bills. Let's get this win, baby.
Let's go
2.5 point favorites. Let's go. Let's go Buffalo. Come on.
We wonder aloud what we will see from Big Ben. What will we see from Jalen Hurts in his first start on Sunday? Talk some Eagles on the other side. This is First Things First. Guys, let's play games now. Let's play games. How about a little drawing a blank? So Doug Peterson made the change at quarterback to Jalen Hurts. Going to see what the rookie can do against that vaunted Saints defense. But Brandon, the player that you, my friend, are most excited to watch in Week 14 is blank.
Okay, Justin Jefferson. We have his running mate, Adam Thielen, coming up on the show here soon. And I got to go with Justin Jefferson. This kid has passed the field for Rookie of the Year. I'm going to let that sit for a second. Ooh. Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. This dude is sitting fourth on the list of most receiving yards in the season as a rookie. That's hard to do. There's some guys that have been in the league for 10 years and haven't snuck into the top 5. He's also on track to pass Randy Moss's rookie record. So this kid, Justin Jefferson, I love it. Go get it, man.
It's a great answer. I'm going to go with someone ahead of Justin Jefferson in receiving yards. I'm excited to watch Travis Kelce. Not just because he was just ordained a 99 by Madden. Travis Kelce is 5 yards behind DK Metcalf for most receiving yards in the NFL this season. Do you know the last tight end to lead the NFL in receiving yards? The answer is you don't, because it's never happened. Travis Kelce has a legitimate chance to be the first tight end ever to lead the NFL in receiving yards. And by the way, he's playing the Dolphins. Really Dolphins have excellent corners. They like to blitz. What does that mean? Little dump offs to Kelce for a bunch of yak as the Chiefs move down the field. Big day for Kelce. Chance to do something no tight end has ever done. The newest 99 on Madden. That's why I'm excited to watch, Wilds.
Okay, it might not be this week, but I'm excited to see Marshawn Lynch. All of a sudden, it's December. You know what time it is? Is Marshawn Lynch coming back time? We know he's going to put on a jersey, start running for touchdowns. He likes to take a lot of time off, come in, boom, take a listen from. He did an interview with one of America's foremost football reporters, Conan O'Brien. Take a listen.
Let me see. I've been asked the questions by a couple teams.
Yep.
Here recently.
Right.
Like, are you ready? I'm ready if y'all Super Bowl ready. That's what it'll take me to come out, to come and play again. Yeah, it'll have to be a guaranteed Super Bowl game for me.
Really?
Okay. Hell yeah.
How about Conan was as serious as if he was interviewing like a world leader?
Marshawn Lynch wants to sign with the Chiefs. Need a goal line back. We can make it work.
Marshawn needs to stay in Hawaii.
Tom Brady and the Bucs clinging to their playoff lives here. They're favored to beat the Vikings by 7 on Sunday. But Brandon, the team that should be on upset alert in Week 14 is blank.
Yeah, this team is going against a really good team. Quarterback had a phenomenal game last week. The Baltimore Ravens should be on upset alert against the Cleveland Browns. Yes, Nick, you have convinced me that Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns are the real deal. So I need to see Lamar Jackson throw it more. I need to see Greg Roman dial it up more. Until I see that, I'm just not going to be convinced that this team is going to stay on track. So Cleveland Browns, Nick Wright, you convinced me that this team is legit.
I love it. It's a great take by you, Brandon. Speaking of quarterbacks that are, need to get on track, Taysom Hill. Saints, watch out now. Jalen Hurts. Ain't nobody got film on him. What are you doing? Calling Big 12 defensive coordinators? You don't know what he's going to do. Philly, we've been talking about a spark. Wilds like, what if the spark doesn't start a fire? But what if it does? What if you got great kindling there and all of a sudden, poof, the Eagles' offense is moving? Are we really going to rely on Taysom Hill to move the ball down the field? Additionally, maybe, possibly, a look-ahead moment for the Saints. They've been rolling. They won 9 in a row. They know that they have their first matchup with the Chiefs of the year coming up a week from Sunday. They'll have a second one, of course, if they make the Super Bowl. So maybe a little letdown opportunity. The Eagles with a new quarterback. Eagles, Saints. Saints should be on upset alert, Wilds.
Okay, you know where I'm going, buddy. Chiefs, Dolphins. Put the Chiefs on upset alert. Brian, I got to do it. Brian Flores needs a signature win. This would be the biggest win of his career. We know they've got a great defense, but here's how great they are, Brandon. Steelers give up 17.6 points per game. The Dolphins, 17.7. I know they play a little bit differently, but it's like the Dolphins are Steelers light by 1/10 of a point. If the Dolphins can
It's a good one.
What?
I just want to ask you a question.
This is a good one.
You've been riding.
Sure.
You've been picking the Jets week after week. Last week they won, but then they lost. They were so close. I figured you're not going to take them? You're not going Jets? You've been riding with them. You almost were the only person in America to get Jets Raiders right. You're not going to ride with them? 14-point dogs against the Seahawks? Greg Williams gone?
My friend.
Do it.
Stay tuned in 90 seconds. Stay tuned.
My apologies. My apologies.
All right. Speaking of the Raiders, who needed heroics to beat the aforementioned Jets big time, almost made Wilds look so smart. Vegas currently on the outside looking into the playoffs. Big matchup with the Colts, who are one spot ahead of them in the AFC. But Brandon, the team that most needs a win week 14 is blank.
Woo, what happened to this team? The Cardinals. The shine has come off of Kyler and Kingsbury. What happened in AZ? Look, they're going up against a red-hot team. The Giants. The Giants. And I think
they're good.
The Cardinals, they need it the most. Let's go.
I'm going to go with, I think it's a great answer, Brandon. And I'm going to go with the team that I expect to get a win. I know we all just picked them to get a win, but it's the Bucs. If the Bucs lose to the Vikings, it's 4-alarm fire in Tampa. Not quite a 5-alarm fire, but 4 alarms still pretty bad. Going to be serious structural damage. Could move to another structure. It's a big deal. Listen, if they lose, they could wake up Monday morning, depending on what the Cardinals do, on the outside looking in of the expanded postseason. So the Bucs have the Vikings, Falcons, Lions, Falcons to finish the year. There's no reason they shouldn't finish the year 4-0 and be a hot team going into the postseason. But it's got to start with a win over the Vikings. So it's an absolute must-win for the Bucs this weekend, Wilds.
Hey, you know who needs a win? The Seattle Seahawks. Steve Serby got a great column in the New York Post. He's like, hey, don't discount this theory. We don't want to be that team. So I was like, holy cow, that's a great theory. The Seahawks don't want to be that team. We know that the Jets almost just won. The Seahawks played terrible against the Giants. And it reminds me a little bit of this, to just put it in another sports term. You ever have 9 guys who want to play basketball and nobody wants to, like, let's just play 4s. And like, no, let's just play 4 on 5. And you're on the 5 team. It gets super stressful as soon as they score 1 point. You're like, it's 4 on 5. Then the team 4 start to play well. So I'd be very careful if I was the Seahawks. A lot of pressure. They don't want to be that team, especially after a bad performance against the Giants. Seahawks also on upset alert. Go Jets.
Wild just compared the Jets to a team playing down a man. They're like playing without a full roster.
No, I'm just saying there's a lot of pressure.
That's about right.
On to the AFC North. You took the words out of my mouth, Nick. On to the AFC North. Big Monday night matchup between the Ravens and Browns. Lamar and the Ravens need a win to jumpstart their playoff chances. They'll most likely get it over the Browns. But Brandon, the player with the most to prove, week 14 is blank.
Whew. I got to go with Jalen Hurts, and this is a tough one. He's getting his first career start. He's replacing a struggling Carson Wentz. And, you know what he gets? He gets the hottest defense in the NFL right now. Since week 9, this defense has been lights out. Jalen Hurts, just hold the ball. Don't throw it around. They're going to try to trick you. They're going to come with some blitzes. They're going to get funky in the back end. Just, hey, keep your poise, keep your composure, and you'll be okay. I hate to put you in this spot, but you have an opportunity to take over the city, the brotherly love city. Like, this is your moment. If you do a great job throughout the rest of the season, you could be the guy. What do you do? Yep. Let's go.
That's right.
Let's go.
I thought the shortest half-life of an MVP conversation was the Paul George 2018 MVP conversation. There was like 9 days where people were like, is Paul George the league MVP? And then everyone's like, that's crazy. Stop it. I was wrong. The shortest half-life of an MVP conversation was Kyler Murray's. It lasted about 36 hours. It didn't exist anywhere in nature before the Hail Mary. It shortly went away after the Hail Mary. And since then, they're 0-3. He has hurt his shoulder, and he won't run the football, which I'm drawing that conclusion. I think because he hurt his shoulder, he doesn't run the football. He's got to play better, and the Cardinals desperately need a win, as Brandon laid out earlier. So Kyler, who the last 3 weeks, 84 passer rating, only 5 rushes per game, he's got to get back to doing Kyler Murray things, not to get in the MVP conversation, but he's going to be one of the only players ever to go from is he the MVP to he didn't even make the Pro Bowl if he doesn't get it together. So I say Kyler, Wilds.
All right, I'm going with Cam Newton, and hear me out. Desperate times call for desperate measures. We all last night I had to hear about, McVay avenges the Super Bowl loss. 3 points. Now look at this. The tide's turned. Unconventional thought, but you know what? Bill Belichick's a genius. What if after the handshake just went up to McVay like this? Let's run it back. Let's run it back on Sunday. Let's just run it back right now. We'll throw out the record. Whoever wins this one. That's all I'm on. And if McVay does not accept, he's a coward. If you don't accept our chance, we're offering you right now, run it back, and I'll make it a little bit better, Jenna. Neutral field.
Patriots win the Super Bowl. Rams win that one.
Yeah, run it back, and then this one will count as the win. So Cam Newton, I know he had 9 completions, big game coming up on Sunday for the Patriots.
No,
Wiles
is like quietly genius. Hey guys, Houston has a James Harden situation. It's changing by the minute there. We got Charania joining us next to break it all down. You don't want to miss it. It's next. First things first.
From the WWE Thunderdome, King Corbin squares off against Murphy, while Kevin Owens continues his defiance against Roman Reigns. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to talking some basketball now and the ongoing saga of James Harden, the offseason storyline that's quickly becoming the season storyline. Yesterday, Shams Charania reported that Harden has the Bucks and Heat among his preferred trade destinations, along with the Sixers and Nets. Anything else we can do for your James Harden? Shams joining us this morning to discuss. Good morning. Thank you for getting up and hanging out with us, Shams. Let's start there. James Harden, where do things stand right now on his trade demand, his trade requests?
Yeah, so James Harden is in Houston. He's complying with the NBA's coronavirus testing protocols. And as of right now, the expectation around the team, around James Harden, is that he will remain professional. But he's going to continue to let the Rockets know that when you guys are ready for a move, I'm ready. And so the only people that can make a transaction right now are the Rockets in terms of being able to pull the trigger on a trade. He's got 2 years guaranteed left on his deal, and we don't usually see superstar franchise cornerstones get traded with 2 years left on their deal. Even if they ask out, those deals usually happen with 1 year left on their deal. But James Harden has made it clear he wants a move to a contending team, and he's made it known these 4 teams he'd prefer a trade to. I think at the top of that list are the Sixers and the Nets, and then 2 other East contenders in Milwaukee and Miami. I think the bottom line here is that James Harden has made it known he wants to be on a winning, contending team elsewhere.
Yeah, ideally out east, not have to go through LeBron Smart. So you're right. Usually it's only with 1 year left on a deal, which is why guys can kind of direct where they go to a degree because teams don't want to give up a ton for a player that's going to walk in a year. Because James has 2 years left, what are you hearing about teams that might not be on his list that might say he's not going to retire? We want James Harden. He's going to be, we're going to have the asset for 2 seasons. Is there a market for him outside of the teams that he's listed?
I think potentially, but in a lot of ways, a lot of people expected that the Nets and the Sixers would be the 2 front-running teams throughout this process. And then now you're starting to see it, open up a little bit to Milwaukee, to Miami. There's always, Nick, a team that comes out of nowhere, right, that starts to make a play.
Yep.
And who knows what develops as the year goes on. I think a lot of this, and that's why Houston is going to, try to prolong this as much as possible, because right now the offers that are on the table just don't fit their criteria for a James Harden trade. And they want an all-star caliber player, a young star type of guy, along with another rotation player as well as draft picks. And that offer just is not on the table. So if you're them, do you wait out on Philadelphia to make Ben Simmons available? If they ever do, do you wait for another offer elsewhere from a team that might not be in the picture? Maybe like a Boston, a Denver. I haven't gotten the sense that either of those teams is in the mix right now. So that's why more and more this looks like it's going to be something that goes into the year, depending on how James Harden plays this, depending on how he goes about his business, how professional he stays. Does he play in the games? Does he sit out here and there? At the end of the day, he's made it clear he feels like he's exhausted winning a title, championship contending in Houston. He wants to go elsewhere to accomplish a championship at the age of 31 in his prime years, as he still has a few of those left.
Okay, Sean. So the seat I occupy on this show is the player's perspective. Okay, so I'm always going to take that angle. If I'm James Harden, right, and you're saying, and you said it a few times already, he's going to move accordingly and he's going to be professional. So what does that really mean? Because this guy has been in Vegas. He's hanging out with little baby. He's not talking to ownership. He's only talking to his assistant coach. He's not even really talking to the head coach. So how messy is this situation? You just said this could go into the season. How messy is this situation right now?
I think from the outside perspective, it doesn't look totally professional, but in terms of those who know James Harden and the way he's operated around that franchise over the course of his 8 years there, I mean, this is, James Harden going to a city for, 2, 3, 4 days at a time and then coming back and really being on his own time schedule. That's not unknown for him, for this franchise, for a couple other players around the league. Like some guys move this way, and James Harden has operated in this fashion. Houston's allowed him to operate in this fashion. But at the end of the day, he's taken days to himself to go on quick trips, and then he's come back and he's put up 50-point triple-double. So how much can we really live with James Harden? As long as he continues to produce at that level, I think Houston's been like, listen, we understand the dynamic that we have here as long as we produce. And James Harden, if anything, you have to give him this. He's produced at a high level. He's always been durable. He's always been on the floor. He's always played his games, played heavy minutes, has played through injury. So James Harden, for the most part, he's done everything you can ask for as just on the court NBA player.
Shams, how do you think the trade speculation is reverberating to the trade targets? So we hear like, maybe Miami will give up Tyler Hero. Maybe it's a Michael Porter Jr. thing. Maybe it's if Ben and Embiid don't work. And then yesterday you wrote like, Houston's not interested unless they're getting KD or Kyrie. And I think KD is locked in. Well, then it's like, maybe Kyrie goes. And Steve Nash was asked about Harden. So how do you think it's reverberating for those other teams, knowing that this specter of a Harden trade is out there?
I mean, that's not something those teams want to deal with, especially when you're looking at Brooklyn and Miami. Milwaukee, too. I mean, all these teams that are on his preferred list, these are teams that have contending aspirations. They don't want, if you're looking at it from a team perspective, they don't want their players' names to be out there in trade talks. But there haven't been, you look at Philly, they have yet to make Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid available at any trade talks. They want to see how those two cornerstones look around bevy of shooters that Daryl Morey brought in, Dwight Howard, Doc Rivers, the new coach. Miami, same thing. They want to, they're not trying to move either Bam Adebayo or Jimmy Butler. The Milwaukee Bucks seem set. They made their big move this offseason, getting Drew Holiday. So some of these teams, they've made their moves. And so could things change as the year goes on? Could they then look at their team, see how the team develops? I think that's what Houston is weighing. I think Houston in a perfect world would still want to see how James Harden fits with John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Christian Wood, and see if this team can win and compete at a high level in the Western Conference. But at the end of the day, I think James Harden has made it clear he feels like he's exhausted championship contention there and wants to go elsewhere.
All right, Shams, I want to take a turn, talk to you a little about Paul George. Yesterday, he signed the 5-year, $226 million extension with the Clippers. He said after signing, I owe them a trophy. How about just starting by showing up in the playoffs, Paul? So, Shams, what does the deal mean for Kawhi's future with the Clippers?
Yeah, so Paul George signing this 4-year, $170 million extension, I think just solidifies his future with the Clippers. He's wanted to be there long term the moment he got there. And for Kawhi Leonard, the plan always is these two guys leading this franchise for years to come. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard signed a 2+1 contract in free agency in 2019 to align himself with Paul George's deal, and now Paul George has re-signed. Kawhi Leonard is not eligible for an extension right now, so he will be a free agent most likely with this player option next year. And as long as I think the Clippers take care of business, they feel confident that they're in a good place with Kawhi Leonard, and that has been the intention. That is why he went back home to L.A. To really put down roots there with that franchise, with that organization. Again, we have a full year to play out with Ty Lue at the helm now, a new coaching staff, different players with Serge Ibaka in the mix now. They need to perform at a much higher level than they did last year.
Last one, and this is going to sound a little odd, but what does Paul George's extension mean for Paul George's future with the Clippers? Because I know that he can't be, he's not eligible to be traded now that he signed this until after this year's deadline. But if they don't win the title, and this next year looks anything like this past year, they now have still a really, really good player, a top 20 player in this league, locked up for 4 more seasons. Do you think part of their thinking in giving him this deal is hopefully it works, and if it doesn't, we have what is a really attractive asset to potentially trade elsewhere to try to reboot the thing around Kawhi?
I mean, I think that just goes into team building as far as, listen, you try to bring guys back, especially star players back on multi-year deals, and the goal is for it to work out, right? I mean, you never know how things play out. I think their intention now with this contract is for him to be a Clipper for the rest of his career, to retire a Clipper. I don't think they're going into it with the intention of trading him because I don't think they expect things to go as bad. So we saw this past year when they didn't win at the highest level, right? They got rid of Doc Rivers. They changed their roster dynamic, letting Montrezl Harrell walk as a free agent, signing Serge Ibaka. So, I mean, I guess never say never, Nick, especially in the NBA. But I think their intent here is for Paul George to be a Clipper the rest of his career.
Shams, thanks so much for hanging out with us this morning. Great insights. Great to have you on.
Great job, man.
We got to take a turn now.
Text me,
Talk
Sean.
some football on the other side. Don't text him. You're going to get a barrage of Shams, just trust me. You're going to get a barrage of texts. One of the hottest receivers in the NFL stopping by on the other side. Adam Thielen joins the conversation next. First things first. Thank you, Shams. Take my advice. Back here in First Things First, let's talk some Vikings now. Pro Bowl wide receiver Adam Thielen has been nothing shy of fabulous this season. His 12 touchdowns, 1 shy of the NFL lead held by Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. That's some good company. And Adam Thielen joins us now this morning. Adam, good morning. Thanks for being with us. Before we dive too deep, I want to start with an awesome campaign that you are involved in, the My Cause, My Cleats campaign. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, got to, fortunate enough to be able to represent the Thielen Foundation, something my wife and I started to try to give back to this community that's done so much for us. And the first thing we kind of partnered with was youth mental health, because we felt that it got overlooked and didn't get a whole lot of resources and opportunities really. So we started with that, and then kind of also progressed to helping out underprivileged youth. And we kind of started this new thing called Change Through Sport. Because we feel like sports are so impactful in young kids' lives. And we want to give those opportunities, resources for kids to love sport and wherever they grow up, whatever income level they are. So that's kind of our mission right now.
Good morning, Adam. Brandon here. Look, man, first off, absolutely love you, absolutely love your game. But more importantly, I love what you and your wife is doing and what you guys have been doing in the community for years now. You talked about mental health. Mental health is something that I've leaned into for a very long time, near and dear to my heart. So I want to lean into that a little bit more. A lot of people run from that. And even now, the holiday season, anxiety is up, stress is up, depression is up. What are you seeing in the youth and with your organizations and what you guys are doing, and how are you guys leaning into that?
Yeah, we feel that now is a time more than ever that we need to help in that area, that we need to raise awareness in that area because of everything going on with kids having to be home and not in school, parents having to be there and working and taking care of their kids and doing all that. It's a stressful time, and there's a lot of cases right now of mental health, and I'm sure there's a lot that people don't even know about that they actually have. So I think it's a time more than ever that we need to help there, that we need to give back, and it's making it difficult to do that because everything is virtual. But I think it's something that we're trying to push forward to make sure that we're there for these kids. That we're still, we used to do weekly visits or every couple of weeks go visit the hospital, and we're trying to still do that, but obviously it has to be virtual. So I just think it's a time more than ever that we have to push together, come together, and try to help out and make sure that this is something that's talked about and people are aware of it.
Adam, how do we help, right? Not just us, but like everyone watching right now and listening. How do we help you guys? What do you guys need?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing is everybody kind of being there to support their family, their friends, maybe people they don't even know, and going out and like I said, going into these communities and maybe it's going into schools or to hospitals and just trying to donate your time and say to these kids that, hey, I care about you. I'm here for you. A lot of them maybe don't have parents or role models to look up to. I think it's an opportunity for there's so many great organizations that do a lot for mentorship. And I think that's a big thing as well. But I think something that my wife and I have found out is there's people, there's probably people that are, if you're watching this right now, that are close to you that are suffering from mental health. So just be there, be open, be honest. If you have problems, I think that's the biggest thing is be open and honest. There's people that want to help, but they don't know if they can help if they don't know you have an issue. So I know we found that in our life. So I encourage that.
I think, Adam, some people often forget how much work you guys do off the field as well. So a big thank you to the work that you and your wife are doing. It's such an important cause, especially right now. I do want to take a turn and talk some football because you've got some important football coming up this weekend. You, Adam, and probably your teammates as well. Traveling down to Tampa to take on Brady and the Bucs. That would be Tom Brady. You guys opened the season. You lost 5 of 6. Now you've won 5 of 6. You guys are right in the mix for a playoff spot in the NFC. What do you think has clicked recently for this team?
Well, I think it was just the fact that we kind of trusted the process. We had a lot of young guys on this team. Our defense looks completely different than it did a year ago. And just trusting the process. I think, we played some really good football and lost some games early in the season and have kind of flipped the script, late in the season. So now is the time more than ever that we got to continue to trust the process, continue to get better. And at the end of the day, we got to make more plays than the other team, and we got to make those big plays and big moments in these games coming up, because it's not going to be an easy task moving forward.
All right, Adam, I want you to do something you rarely do. I want you to talk about yourself for a moment here. 3 best catches of the NFL season. The Tyreek Hill one that didn't count, and 2 by you. The one against the Cowboys and the one against the Bears. Can you take us through, I think we can show them, those 2 catches, and which one was harder and how you did it? Because both of these are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they get more love than they need to. I think Kirk did a great job of just giving me a chance and throwing it up. And you see this one, the one-hander. It was mostly just the ball placement and the touch that he put on it. That it made it pretty easy for me. So thankful that I got guys around me and a great quarterback to be able to give me opportunities.
Adam, routine. That was a routine catch, and that was a routine answer. Look, this is a safe space, man. Look, what Nick Wright just said is he's giving you the opportunity to talk about yourself, all right? We know you're supposed to answer it that way. We know you're supposed to stay humble, but I want to put you on the spot again, but I don't need the routine answer, okay? When we talk about the top wide receivers in the game, we never talk about you. Why don't you get your respect?
Oh man, I'm gonna go back to the routine answer, but no. I mean, honestly, for me, I really don't. I promise you, I don't worry about that. Obviously, sometimes there's things that you kind of just put in the back of your head and you use it for that motivation, use it for that chip on your shoulder. I love doubters. I love it. I love it more than anything. That's what's drove me. Yeah. It's what gave me an opportunity to get to where I am. I've had doubters my whole life. I wasn't supposed to play college football. I wasn't supposed to be in the NFL. And that's what's drove me and gave me the opportunity to be where I'm at.
All right, really quick. All right, here we go. So your wingman, Justin Jefferson, Offensive Rookie of the Year in my mind. What makes him special, man? Because you and Diggs had something special, and now it's looking like you guys have something even more special. What makes this kid special?
Well, first of all, Offensive Rookie of the Year, no doubt, hands down. I don't think anybody can argue with that. That this guy, the way that he's playing, I mean, he's. I said it to one of the DBs in the last game. He made a catch, and I go, "That guy's not a rookie. That guy's playing at an All-Pro level." And it's just, I think what makes it most impressive is just the guy he is. Off the field, he never talks about his success. He never. He just has a smile on his face. He loves to be in the building. He loves the game of football. He's probably one of the guys that, that I've been around that just loves the game of football more than anyone I've ever been around. Just loves being in the building, loves talking ball, loves having fun with his teammates. And those are the guys you root for, right? Like guys that you enjoy being around in the locker room and that actually put the work in and love the game. So thankful that he's on our team because he's doing a heck of a job.
Well, you left out a key part of Justin Jefferson's talent skill level here. Let's talk about, we'll put a grade on it. I'm all flustered because I just watched you dance and now I couldn't even find words after seeing this. Look, Justin started the gritty dance. You've had 12 chances to show off your own gritty dance. Much like me, our dance moves, Adam, have come a long way since week 1. Adam, put a grade on your gritty dance celebration.
Well, it's progressed to probably about a C- now, but I will say that when I hit it in practice, it's like a B+, maybe even an A-. But for some reason, when there's no music, I can't get the rhythm right or something. But I need some music right after I score. That'd help me out a little bit.
All right.
I like that one on the sideline.
From this angle. It looks good. You guys have a big test coming up this weekend. Good luck against the Bucs. Thank you so much for stopping by, and continued success with the work you're doing. It's really great work.
Top 5 wide receiver.
I appreciate you guys.
We'll take a turn now. Get back to last night's game, Patriots and Rams, and another brutal night from Cam Newton. Where does that leave their quarterback situation? Bill Belichick even chiming in. We'll have that for you next. First things first. Thank you, Adam. Time now for stories to start your morning. Sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Patriots and Rams last night, another dismal performance from Cam Newton. Sacked, pressured, pick-sixed. Played all the big hits last night like Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. Anyway, it turned into a loss for the Patriots. Their 7th loss this season, most since 2002. By the time the 4th quarter rolled around, Belichick pulled Cam for Jarrett Stidham. Rams win, Pats lose. Cam was asked about getting benched after the game. Take a listen.
Coach took you out of the game with a little over 10 minutes left. Are you concerned about not or being benched for next week or anything like that?
That's not my call. I'm just doing what I'm asked. I just have to still go into each and every week with the mentality to keep getting better, and that's what I plan on doing.
Bill, I wanted to ask you about just the quarterback. You're going to stick with Cam next week at quarterback?
Yeah, great question, Mike. I'm really glad you asked that. Cam's our quarterback.
Oh, yeah, we've now listened to that
Hot
3 times. It gets
Jenna.
funnier every time I hear it. Yeah.
Jenna, hot take. Belichick was being sincere. He was glad it was asked. He wanted to announce that Cam was still the starting quarterback. I truly believe that. Go ahead and you can continue, Jenna.
That's
but
right.
I think he actually meant it. Like, I wanted to tell everybody
It has
Cam's
to be a
the quarterback.
sizzling take. I don't know. That was the most I've ever seen the guy emote in his entire life. Great question. I've never seen it. Anyway, Brandon, let's start the conversation off here. What do you think Belichick should do? Do you bench Cam, or do you let him just finish off the season at this point? Only a handful of games left.
No, you heard it. He just cut off Mike, the reporter. Poor reporter. He just cut him off, and he answered the question right away. And why did he cut him off and answer the question right away? Because he knows he needs Cam Newton. Bill Belichick needs this guy because it'll be a PR nightmare if you move on. This is the first time in 12 years that they're done, that they're cooked, that they're going to be right beside the Jets. They're going to be right beside these other teams in the bottom of the barrel going fishing. They need Cam Newton because if you put in Jarrett Stidham, then it's going to be Jarrett Stidham throws a couple more picks. Patriots get blown out. You can't afford to go in the offseason on a 4-game losing streak. Look, last night, it was everybody's fault. Josh McDaniels, out-coached by Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator for the Rams. He had answers for everything they were trying to do. So if anybody needs to sit down, then we need to look at Josh McDaniels. We need to look Bill Belichick. These guys need to keep Cam Newton in there and hopefully keep these games close and it be competitive, Wilds.
Okay, Bill Belichick is not sitting anywhere. He can sit down on a nice bench that they have for him outside of the Hall of Fame. It says world's greatest coach. But other than that, he's not sitting down, Brandon. Sorry, I'm a little bleary-eyed. The committee and I were up deep into the night after the game. It's Matt Damon and Manny Ramirez and Ben Affleck and myself. And we are ready to unveil the Patriots tiers, except unfortunately, folks, it's TEARS, the most painful moments of last night's game. And all, for the record, the entire saga of 2020 New England. So we'll start at the bottom here. As everyone knows, it goes bottom up. The very bottom, you'll see a picture of Greg Williams. Why is Greg Williams on there? He's got nothing to do with it. Well, you know why it is? Because it was a Hail Mary play, and we ran the ball. Why are we running the ball in the Hail Mary? Greg Williams sitting at home be like, why did I get fired? See, not everyone throws a Hail Mary when you're down big. Nope, and don't worry, folks. Part of me thought, oh, at least you get to, maybe it's a olive branch to fantasy football owners. Nope, nullified on a penalty, headed back. On the next level, we got Cam Akers, we got Aaron Donald. Because Cam Akers ran for, and I checked this out with our statistician, Dusty, 900 yards, single game rushing record, never be broken. Aaron Donald was part of the Rams defense that had 6 sacks. Next tier up. Nick Folk, good guy, put up 3 points, kept us alive, kinda. But we kicked a field goal when it was 4th and 2. Do you know why? Because no one in Patriot Nation thought we could get 2 yards. And I was like, it's actually a good play. The problem is it was 17-0. So somehow we're like, well, now we're down 14. McVay, however, is 34-0 when leading at halftime. So, I don't think that offense was going to all of a sudden break the streak. Who else is next? Oh, Josh McDaniels. Hey, great play call. It's like you're playing a video game and one of the buttons broken, and all you can keep on hitting is quarterback draw from the 4th and goal. Everybody knew that was going to happen. It's the same play we ran in Seattle that didn't work. It didn't work in Seattle. Next up, Cam Newton, who I absolutely love and I've become a bigger fan of, but these guys got 9 completions. Really, via this Kevin statistics, it's actually 8. 1 was tipped up, should have been an interception. So it actually goes down to 8. And finally, the king. Bill Belichick, I love you, but what's the plan? What's the plan? It can't be Stidham because, like you said, Nick, Brian Hoyer started the game against the Chiefs. Brian Hoyer lost the backup job. Then Stidham's come in. I don't know if Cam is hurt or we know he had a little abdomen injury, but I'm very nervous about next year. It isn't like go get him next year because, look, I know we got cap space and we got people coming back off the COVID list, but I'm very, very nervous that I don't see anything great on the horizon for the greatest franchise in the NFL. That's
all right, so that's all very good, aside from the fact that it's copyright infringement, and you'll be hearing from the actual committee's attorneys. Cease and desist we're too far gone for that, to be totally honest with you. I understand you included Matt Damon and Ben Affleck to try to intimidate us out of litigation, but that won't work. Okay, now, as far as it goes for the Patriots quarterback situation, on their roster is Brian Hoyer. He has the same chance to be the starting quarterback next year. Take these tears down. They're making me mad. He has the same chance to be the starting quarterback next year that Wilds does. On the roster is Jarrett Stidham. He has, I would say, a 1% chance to be the Patriots starting quarterback next year. And then there's Cam, who at this point, the highest it possibly could be is what? A 10% chance to be the starting quarterback? But it is still dramatically and demonstrably higher than anybody else they have. Like, Cam might be an old classic car that's breaking down, but Hoyer is a horse-drawn carriage, and Stidham is a tricycle that's missing a wheel. So you're going to go with the car, even if it keeps breaking down, until you can get a new one. And I do think that they're going to use the final 3 games, Jenna, to evaluate, is it injury-related, or is it what, to be fair, a lot of people speculated about Cam, and I did not want to believe, which is using him like a quarterback / running back for a decade, broke his body down to where he's not going to have a mid-30s as a starting quarterback in this league because the wear and tear was too much. Because, Jenna, the guy I've seen playing quarterback for this team this last month, aside from the Texans game, does not look like a starting quarterback in this league.
Well, whether he's hurt or not, the results may actually be the same. All right, well, let's talk about this from the Rams' perspective. Their defense just suffocated Cam in the pass last night from start to finish. Scored a touchdown for the 3rd straight game. Nick, I'll send it back to you. The Rams are now 9-4. Are they Super Bowl contenders when the defense is clicking like this?
I think we have to consider them Super Bowl contenders despite their quarterback play. Goff wasn't much better than Cam yesterday because of 2 things. One is what Wild said. 34-0 when leading at halftime is insanity, and that's a credit to McVay.
Yep.
But the other reason is this, Brandon. Hiding in plain sight is one of the greatest players, not in the league, but in the history of the league. Aaron Donald started his career amazing, and over the last 3 seasons has been better. He's been available to play in all 45 of their 45 games. In those 45 games, Brandon, he has 45.5 sacks, 10 forced fumbles, and another 55 tackles for loss. So in 45 games, he's created 110 super negative game-changing plays. I feel like that guy by himself, and then you add Jalen Ramsey to the equation, make you a contender when you are playing the position at as, with respect to Warren Sapp, with respect to Mean Joe Green, at as high of a level as anyone has ever played that position, Brandon.
100%. And you're right. We have to consider them contenders for 2 reasons. And starting with what you just said, Aaron Donald. I played against this guy, and I've never heard another player talk to another teammate this way. This dude looked at one of his defensive linemen and told him, "You will not be allowed on this field if you let this offensive lineman do this to you again." I was in awe. I just stopped. I said, man, his leadership and how he approaches the game and how he approaches practices is next level. We know what he's capable of from a physical standpoint. This dude is a monster. Now you look at what they're doing on defense. This is a great defense. Offensively,
might
now,
be the best defense
they're
in the
running
league.
the ball better than they have in the last 15 years. That was the recipe in 2018 when they got to the Super Bowl. They played good up front. Now they're playing good on defense, in the entirety of the defense. And offensively, they ran the ball wild. That's why they're going to be contenders, or should be considered contenders.
I hope they win the Super Bowl. We came in second then. I kind of like that. Destroy us. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, they won the Super Bowl. What are we supposed to do?
We got to go. Have a great weekend, everybody. Undisputed starts right now.